Think of the coolest weapon in fictional history. Everyone just landed at the same answer: lightsabers. The Star Wars franchise, while known for its awesome storytelling, became 1,000 times more interesting when they introduced those laser swords. And that's what today's video is all about: the many types of lightsabers, their history, what makes them strong, and what holds them back.
The dark saber is gone. You've lost everything. Mandalorians are weak once they lose their trinkets.
Ultimately, we're answering this question: which lightsaber is the best of them all? Standard lightsaber. Starting off with an unsurprising classic, the standard lightsaber. Did you know the term Skywalker lightsaber refers specifically to Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, which was later wielded by Luke and Rey? But still, what makes them the standard? Jedi construct their lightsabers as part of their training, usually by journeying to a loom or another kyber-rich planet. They weren't mass-produced in any armory. In fact, a lot of them were made during the Nile conflict in the High Republic era. After the Starlight Beacon was destroyed, the Jedi Order asked Jedi Master Govanea to help others construct battle sabers to protect themselves. Over the next few decades, there had been a ton of customizations. These changes went from blade color to intensity, making lightsabers the ultimate classics. Star Wars fans fell in love with them immediately, but they were blown away once a certain Sith Lord from the prequel trilogy pulled out an insane variation of the standard saber. Double-bladed lightsabers. The double-bladed lightsaber was a complete wildcard in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Darth Maul's aura points went from 0 to 100 when he showed up to battle with this beauty. After the original trilogy, everyone thought that sabers were as dangerous as they could ever be. But then, once we saw light coming from both ends, it changed the game entirely. The Sith originally invented these to make the classic lightsabers look a lot more menacing, but the Jedi ended up adopting them with a few modifications to better suit their combat styles. A lot of you would remember that the double-bladed lightsaber wasn't just something a Sith Lord used. However, there is another variant of the double-bladed lightsaber used exclusively by the Sith: the Inquisitor's lightsabers.
You're supposed to be dead.
Step into the darkness and you might just get a cool lightsaber upon admission. This special kind of double-bladed lightsaber was designed to suit the dark side. They feature a circular hilt with emitters that allow the blades to spin, so when facing an Inquisitor, they'll be holding a whirling disc of plasma. As far as live-action appearances are concerned, there was a very brief moment of the Grand Inquisitor's lightsaber in action in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Too bad fans didn't get to see it in full action. It's pretty cool when characters get their sabers. They bring a completely different vibe to the weapon, making sure that no one else in the universe can mimic them. On that note, let's talk about the shoto lightsaber. The shoto lightsaber. The shoto lightsaber is a shorter variant of the standard lightsaber, typically used as a secondary weapon in the offhand for defensive purposes. It is ideal for smaller beings, like Yoda, or for practitioners of dual-wielding combat forms such as Jarkai. But the real professional has to be Ahsoka Tano. If it wasn't for her in Clone Wars, we would have never known the true strength of a shoto lightsaber. Luke Skywalker also used a shoto against Luminaya's light whip. In the Star Wars franchise, it is a huge deal if you can master a weapon better than Luke. Ahsoka gets a medal for that because she has her distinctive style in battle. You can't do that with a saber that limits your movement, now can you? The protosaber.
Right now, the teacher controls both.
Before the lightsaber, there was the protosaber. This weapon originated during the ancient era of the Jedi on Tython. It was inspired by the First Blade, a unique energy weapon created by a legendary Jedi weapon master. Protosabers were designed for siege warfare and featured a hilt housing and an emitter and a focusing crystal, often ebon crystals in early designs. Since technology wasn't as advanced back in the day, these sabers needed an external power pack. Not so practical, huh? So its use was limited during the 100-Year Darkness and the Great Hyperspace War, and when technology advanced, internal power cells replaced the external pack. It's very rare to find someone carrying a protosaber now because, well, they're basically obsolete. But was it easy to make your very own saber? Ezra Bridger's lightsaber. Judging by the advanced space technology, many fans think that they could have easily made their own weapons if they lived out there in the open universe. But you would have had to have been someone like Ezra Bridger to get the job done. Ezra was an important character in Star Wars Rebels, the orphan street thief from Lothal, who joins the Ghost Crew. Ezra trains as a Jedi under Kanan Jarrus, which is where his resourcefulness shines. He constructed his first lightsaber using a kyber crystal from the Jedi Temple on Lothal. This unique weapon combines a blue saber blade with a built-in stun blaster. Yeah, it did more than just emit a high-intensity energy beam. It's really interesting to see him go from a thief using scrap metal to a Jedi Padawan. Looks like he didn't just want to be just another youngling using toy sabers. Training lightsabers. Training sabers were designed for younglings and Padawans to learn and develop their combat skills in the Jedi Order. They typically have shorter blade length and a lot less power output as compared to a standard battle saber. Why? Well, do you really want to see kids poke each other's eyes out with laser swords? That's only something Anakin is capable of. Speaking of Darth Vader, did the iconic villain have his own weapon, or did he just pick an average saber from the weapons room? Dual-phased saber. So dual-phase lightsabers are specialized weapons equipped with 2 or more kyber crystals. This lets users adjust the blade length instantly. It was often used to catch opponents off guard during combat because of how quickly the power beam would emit from the hilt. It was mastered during the Jedi Civil War. You may be surprised to find out that both Jedi and Sith used it first, but it later became rare to find someone with a dual-phase saber. The reason is that a lot of Jedis found this particular weapon to be unlawful because of how deceptive it was. In other words, Darth Vader was going on brutal rampages with an illegal weapon. Only he can make a saber as cool as he does. The question is, can his grandson do justice to his legacy?
Forgive me. I feel it again.
Crossguard lightsaber. Fans could not believe their eyes when Kylo Ren pulled out his special saber in the trailer of The Force Awakens. If a standard saber wasn't cool enough, this looked like 1,000 times better. But was it as powerful as it looked? So this thing has a central red blade with 2 smaller plasma vents. If you like Star Wars lingo, they call the vents quillins, and their purpose is to act as a crossguard. But get this. This weapon is actually very unstable because it has a cracked kyber crystal in it, as compared to a stable one in other sabers. Kylo modified the crystal himself after turning to the dark side, and let's just say, he's no Ezra Bridger. So quillins serve as exhaust vents to release excess energy as a defensive feature that protects the wielder's hands during combat. Who would have thought something as simple as a weapon could hold so much weight in the Star Wars narrative? That's because the lightsaber is a representation of Kylo Ren through and through. The design is also inspired by ancient sabers, like the one first introduced in Star Wars Legends. As a lot of you know, Kylo was obsessed with the past and how Darth Vader is his grandfather. He wanted to be just like his father, Han Solo. So is Kylo's crossguard the weakest weapon out there? You know, because of how unstable it is? Orange lightsabers.
While a single master and apprentice usually indicate a Sith pair, these two aren't wielding red lightsabers like, say, Darth Vader.
No, Kylo's crossguard is not the weakest. That title belongs to the orange, which holds a meaning of its own in the Star Wars lore. The color basically represents a middle ground between the light and the dark sides of the Force. The people who wield them don't have the same extreme political agendas as the Jedi or the Sith. In Star Wars Legends, orange lightsabers were linked to gray Jedi, who had a balanced approach to the Force. In canon, they appeared in Ahsoka, wielded by Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. The reason they're not as strong as the other sabers is because of the kyber crystals in them. These look like kyber crystals, but when ignited, they release a less efficient beam. So if the Fool's Kyber make the weakest sabers, which one's the strongest? Mace Windu's lightsaber. As Moff Gideon said, the dark saber does not have power. The story does. In other words, the bond between the weapon and the user is what's most important. So to answer the burning question, there's no such thing as the strongest lightsaber. Some say Luke's lightsaber is the most powerful one, while others claim it's Darth Vader's double-phased saber. Some even think it's the dark saber. Yet many fans believe Mace Windu's lightsaber, though iconic, is the strongest weapon in the galaxy. It's powered by a rare kyber crystal and has a purple blade, something that's very rare in the Star Wars universe, and yes, it's just as rare as a white plasma blade. Windu had his own unique connection to the Force and was one of the best to ever hold a saber. If you blend his weapon with the aggressive Vaapad combat form, you have yourself someone who could give Darth Sidious a run for his money. So the strongest lightsaber probably doesn't exist. You would think the light whip or sickle-bladed saber is no match for any weapon in the galaxy, but that's completely subjective. What do you think is the most powerful saber? Let us know in the comments below. Leave a like and hit that subscribe button to see more content.